Are you spending hours staring at a blank screen trying to write compelling marketing copy for your online course? We've all been there. But what if I told you that there's an AI tool that can help you to generate high quality, engaging content in minutes, sometimes seconds? Welcome to this quick guide on Copy.ai. It's an incredibly powerful AI tool that can completely change how you market your online course for the better. In your business as an online course creator, Copy.ai acts as your personal copywriting team, helping you craft everything from catchy social media posts to persuasive sale page copy, email sequences, and even blog post ideas, all designed to attract and convert your ideal students. Now, before we jump into this demonstration, I am sharing this information with you because I genuinely find that it's useful for online course creators. I'm not being paid and I'm not an affiliate. I'm just sharing my personal experiences and my opinions. So let's have a look at Copy.ai in action. For this demonstration, imagine we are launching a new online course called Mastering Mobile Photography for Beginners. We need to create a landing page using our brand voice and set up a workflow to create weekly social media content. So let's go and have a look. Here we have our dashboard. Now I'm going to quickly show you how we can navigate through this dashboard. There is a lot going on here that we would see to start to populate, but let's just break it down. So on our dashboard here, we would eventually see all of our different workflows or our different chats that we have. Along the top here, these first three are all knowledge-based materials. So how you can get started, tutorial videos and help center. All of them are useful information that you can go through for tours, etc. On the right-hand side here, which we'll look at later in this video, is our workflow library. So this shows different workflows that we can build that are already pre-created for us. They're templates basically. So stick around for that because we will be looking at the workflow library. Now on the right-hand side here, let me just move myself over. We've got our workspace. We might have multiple workspaces here, but we've just got the one here. And then we've got within that workspace different team spaces as well. But the most important things that I want to be looking at today is the workflows and the chats. So down the bottom here, we again go into workflows and chats, and we'll be able to see our workflows or our chats. We can also click on the little plus button to create a new one. There are some useful configurations that we'll be going through and having a look today. We'll be looking at brand voice and info base. Now these, we'll build them as we go, and then we'll come back to this configuration to see how they've automatically populated here for us. Now if we go back home, on our right hand side here, we can create new. Remember, you can click plus here to create a workflow or plus here to create a chat, or you can create new and then you select which one. Now we can also have folders here on our main page. If we did have quite a few chats and workflows, we could have folders for landing page material, folders for email campaigns, folders for different types of workflows. You get it. You can just categorize your workflows and your chats. Before we go ahead and create anything, let's talk about the difference between a chat and a workflow. A chat is a one-time conversation that you're having where you are creating a one-off content piece. Okay, so you might just say, hey, I quickly need you to respond to this email. And it's a one-off piece. Workflows are, on the other hand, are things that happen automatically and reoccurring. So they might be workflows that you want to create specific outreach content based on someone's LinkedIn profile. You might want to create an email series based on a conversation that you're having with someone, with a prospect. There are lots of different workflows that you can use, and we'll look at a couple of examples today. But just think about that chats are a one-off thing and workflows are ways to automate some chats within your business. So stick around for workflows because we'll be looking at them later on within our demonstration. But first, it is important that you do know how to create a chat and what it is before we go in and try and automate it. So let's go in and create a new chat. Now we can either click on this button here to create a new chat, or on the right hand side, we can click create new and then go into chat. And now our chat's been created here for us. So in here, we need to add in a prompt to be able to write content. So if you've ever used ChatGPT, Gemini, any of those platforms or similar, then this is very similar, but there's a little bit more here. So there are some prompts here that you've got as well, which you would see in Gemini or in ChatGPT. But down the bottom, we've got a few additional pieces of information. Like ChatGPT and Gemini, we can attach content if we like. So if you already have maybe an outline for your landing page or already something in Excel or in Word, then you can attach it here. Maybe even a photo that you have of a design concept. Add it all there. Again, you can do them in ChatGPT or in Gemini. But what we don't have is these browse prompts or this brand voice. If you've worked in ChatGPT or Gemini and you have taught Gemini your brand voice, you might know that it's quite a process to teach your brand voice. Here, it's easy. What we're going to do is you're selecting your brand voice. Now, you might have different types of voices that you want depending on maybe you have different audiences, maybe you want a different voice based on the content that you're producing, whatever it may be. But we can add a brand voice. Now, when we add brand voice, what we're doing here is we can copy in a blog article, a social media post, whatever it might be. So let's have an example. I'm going to go into my blogs here. If you ever want to check out my blogs, check them out at thestellaway.com/blogs. Different types of blogs here. Let's just use this one as an example. Okay, I'm going to copy all of this content and paste it in here. And that's analyzing my brand voice. So it's getting a feel for how I like to speak, my tone of voice, the types of words I use. I also hope that's going to look at the types of grammar that I use. Okay, I can create this as a default across my entire team space. I'm going to go ahead and say yes and save brand voice. Okay, so remember at the beginning that in the configuration, we have brand voice and info base. You will notice now that it's got 1 here. And this is exactly where we were pushed to once we saved our brand voice. We've got our brand voice here. It's set as default and we can create as many more brand voices as you like. So let's go back into our chat. Now we've already got a chat that we've started. Okay, so we haven't really done anything in it, but it's been saved. So if we click on chats, you can see that it's been saved here. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that. If we wanted to rename it, we can just click on here and let's just say example chat, for example. Okay, so we've had a chat about what we see here, attaching, and we can also see here that it no longer has a brand voice to select from. It's actually automatically selected the brand voice that we just created because we marked it as default. So that's great. So then it's always going to be selected. Now, this is an important part of our demonstration. This is a cool part. This is browsing prompts here. So now we can go into different types of prompts and we can populate a lot of the information just by selecting on one of these here. You can go through all of these different options here to have a look at all of the different types of prompt templates that are available for you. But because I know that there's a landing page and I want to demonstrate that, we're going to do landing page copy. Once I've selected that, it's going to populate it for us. And I just click on use prompt. And then I've got all of this information here. You can see here that says product details. Okay, so this is where I need to add my product details. Now we said that this course is a course about photography. So create a website copy for a Mastering Mobile Photography for Beginners online course. I'm just going to keep that short like this because I would like to see what it creates on such a little amount of details and a small prompt. So before we go ahead and generate, I would like to click on this improve option here. Now this improve option means that Copy.ai, that's AI Assist, is reviewing the prompt that I've written and it's gone ahead and made changes. Look at all of these changes that it's already made for me. Okay, so I've just saved myself, I don't know, I think that would have saved me at least 30 minutes, 20 minutes of thinking about all these details. Okay, that's excellent. Now we're going to go ahead and click generate. So now it's going ahead and it's generating my entire content for me in seconds. Now, once I've got this here, I can go ahead and copy this text and paste it into a document if I wish, or I can also add to an editor here. And in my editor here, I can start to make changes straight away. Okay, so maybe I can say, well, I speak British English, but we have one L, so I want to change that there. I want to also add photography here, for example. So I'm making all of these changes. Now it's important to note that this is not changing the output here. It's not making any changes here, but it is changing the content here. I can also change some formatting, and then I can copy all. I've just clicked Control A. You can also go in and copy all like that, or you can right click and select all. And then you can just copy that and paste into your platform that you wish. As easy as that. Now that's how easy it is to create a chat. You can go in and you can ask more information. You can make some adjustments, just like you would do in ChatGPT or Gemini. You would have a conversation. You might want some edits to do. You don't like the output. You might want some things changed, whatever it might be. So you can continue that conversation. So now that we've seen what chats can do, let's have a look at how we can automate some of this information by using our workflows in Copy.ai. Now, before we jump in and create a new workflow, let's go back to our home button and let's go to this workflow library that we looked at earlier in this video. In this workflow library is when you can have access to all of the different templates of workflows, which means that they've already set up step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So let's have a look at these templates first so we can get an idea of what the workflows can do before we look into how to manually build a workflow from scratch. Okay, so let's have a look at the different, on the top here, we have different categories that you can go into, such as marketing, prospecting, operations, lots of different workflows here for us. Now you can also go in and search for a workflow. So I'm going to search for an SEO optimized content. I'm going to head and try this. Now when I do, I'm being asked for some information before it builds the workflow for me. Now what it's doing here is that it's going to create content brief of how I should be using SEO. So I'm going to add a keyword in here. My keyword is mobile photography. And my background, I'm just going to copy this across here. I've got a background written down that just explains the course a little bit. This is just for an example. You can pause and read it if you like, but it's just showing you the depth of an example. Not that huge. And then I'm going to click on Run Workflow. Now, while this is processing in the background, I would like to explain what this means. Go to the table to run in bulk and view all runs. So if I click on this, which you would see on the top, we've now gone across to table. It's processing a content brief for me based on the word or the keywords mobile photography. So on the same background, I can actually add a new row, which means I'm creating a new row of the same workflow. So let's say I'm creating a new task for the same workflow. I can use the same background just simply by copying that and pasting it in, or I can create a brand new one. So let's say that I want to have a different content brief for the same background, but on a different keyword of photography, for example. Okay, so you can see how you might have a completely different background, completely different keyword, whatever it might be. But I can then just run that one as well. So we can have multiple instances of the same workflow running. So it's doing two tasks at the same time. You're doubling your productivity in a second. Okay, so those ones are processing for us now. Now, while those are processing, we can also go and do another workflow. So let's go back to home. That's going to be happening in the background for us. Let's get that to go. Think of it like an assistant doing the work for you. You don't need to sit and wait for it. So let's go back into our workflows here. And each time we click on workflows, it's opened up a new tab for us, which is fine. Let's search for a workflow called cold copy for LinkedIn. Cold email sequence from LinkedIn profile. Let's go ahead and try this one. Okay, so again, we have to input some information here. Now I'm going to use my own email here because I would like to see the output that it has on my profile. You can go ahead and use mine, you can use your own, or go ahead and actually use a real profile of someone that you would like to connect with if you do use LinkedIn. Okay, I'm just going to go in and add company description. This is all fake information based on our example, and new course available. Obviously, you might have some more information that you'd like to put in here. I'm just using the basics. And run workflow again. Remember, you can go into the table over here and you can process multiple instances of this workflow. So you might have 3 or 4 people that you would like to connect with. Go ahead and add a new row, put in their URL, your company description, and any additional context. So maybe the company description will always remain the same, but the additional context might change if you wanted to reach out to them in a different way. Maybe there's a different way that you can connect with that person. Let's go back into our workflows. You can see this one's already completed. While we're here, let's have a look at that one. So I'm going to just go into this workflow, click on this button here, and it pulls up all of the information for me. Basically, it's showing me each of these cells in the table, but it's a lot easier to read here. Now, this is just showing me what it scraped from my profile, the details it extracted, the company, my company that it researched, and any different additional information. And now this is what I want to know is the emails. So let's just open this up here. So this is the email that's produced for me. Hi Kat, do you ever feel like the visuals in your online courses could be more engaging and professional looking? Create high quality visual assets can be time consuming, etc., etc. So you can see how quickly that's created an email for me. And what's more is that there is a second email as well, and a third email. So you can go into each of those and view them and have a look at it. Now, if I want to edit something, I'm just going to click on edit here, and I can go in and, for example, I don't like using that. I might want an extra space there. I might want to bold 6 months, for example. And then don't forget to click save down the bottom here. And now that's all updated for me. Perfect. So like in our chat, we couldn't update the chat output, but here we can update it because we're no longer in the chat. It's not the output, it's content for me. All populated in rows. Let's jump back to the previous workflow that we just did. Let's see how we can find that. Let's go into our workflows. Remember I said that we're going to have everything to start to populate as we're going through this. So here's our workflows, here's our old chat. If we go home, we've got everything here. Okay, so we can see all of these. Let's go into our SEO optimized content. Okay, so now we've been brought to our workflow. So how do we get back to that table? Easy. On the top, let's click table, and it's there for us. Okay, so now we can see all of this completed here, and we can see our SEO brief. Remember, we have to click on this button here to populate on the right hand side. You will also notice that we've also got the button there for us. So it's going to open everything for us here. This is a small screen, so let's click on view here and we can populate this or make it larger so we can have a look at our content brief for our SEO. Look at all the keywords we can use. We've got information on how we should be writing our content. Now, this is not content per se, but this is really great if you are creating standard operating procedures within your business and you want to have a brief of how SEO should be implemented. Easily copy that and then you can put it into a document. So in seconds, we've been able to create 2 content briefs and we've been able to create 3 emails to our prospect on LinkedIn. So you can see how valuable workflows are. That could all happen in the background while I'm focusing on strategic stuff within my business. Now, if you want to continue to look into workflows, let's jump in and have a look at how we can manually create one of these workflows. So to create one of these workflows, remember we jump on the left-hand side into workflows and we can click add new here or create new on the top here. And we'll go into workflows. And this is where we get to the build section, which is blank. Okay. You can see with the other ones, it populated it for us with a template, but this is all blank. Now you can create a workflow in 2 different ways in this manual side here. So when we're creating our manual prompts, we can do everything from scratch by adding our triggers and adding in actions, or down the bottom here, we can add in a prompt and it can automatically create it for us. So let's have a look at both. If I want to add a trigger, I'm going to click on add trigger and we can add a trigger based on 4 different ways. So manual input, and that's when we're adding in a URL from LinkedIn, for example. Or we can trigger it on a schedule. So we can say every week, please create Instagram content for me, for example. Then we've also got triggers that are based on the result from another workflow. So we can say trigger on workflow failed, or maybe we want to trigger a different workflow to happen because this one failed, or trigger on workflow complete. We can say, okay, well, now that I have my content for my LinkedIn prospect, I would now like to send emails out. Okay, so we can run a workflow based on the completion of a previous workflow, and they were just examples. On the left here, we've got categories, and this is just breaking these categories down. As simple as that. Okay, so we're going to look at a trigger on a schedule. I'm going to click trigger on a schedule here, and I would like to say week. So it happens once a week on a Monday, not every hour. It's going to happen at 9 a.m. It might happen at 9:15, for example, and save my action. And there is my trigger. Now the trigger means when will this workflow start? Okay, so it's going to start Monday 9 a.m. at 9:15. Let's go ahead and add in an action. So for this, I would like to add generate text here. Now for my text, I'm going to add a prompt, create Instagram post. Background information, let's copy the same information from before and save that action. Okay, and that's going to create some text for me. Now I can test this workflow before I publish it. So let's go ahead and click on test. When we are testing the workflow, it's not going to use any of my credits. Okay, so it's not going to use any of my credits that I have up here. It's just going to test to make sure that's all working. So let's run that workflow. Now we do want to stay on this one because we want to make sure that it's working. Okay, here, perfect. We have some text here for us. We can go into the full version and we can review that. Remember that we can also go in and we can edit it and make any changes that we'd like. And then we can copy it and paste it onto Instagram or Facebook, wherever it might be. Now, that's perfect. That's how we would test our workflow. We can then go ahead and publish it. And then we have the same as before. We have our build side where we can add more actions. We have our run section, if it's based on a different trigger that's not 9 a.m. Then we have our table, which we looked at before, for every time it's run. Obviously, it's not running now because it's not Monday at 9 a.m. Let's go back into workflows, and I'm going to add another workflow here. Let's use this prompt button down the bottom, and we're going to create exactly the same workflow, but using a prompt. Okay, so there's my prompt. Every Monday at 9 a.m, generate 3 to 5 Instagram posts about mobile photography tips. Repurpose each into tweet length captions, email snippets, and pin interest descriptions. Now, I hope that you are writing a much more structured prompt than this. This is very basic, and the reasons why it's very basic is because we're not looking into how to create prompts. We're looking into how to create a workflow. So just a very basic prompt here, and then we'll generate that. Now it's going to build all of that based on our prompt. Okay, like I said, if you have a more structured prompt, a more thorough prompt, it will have a more thorough workflow for you. And then it's going to build everything here for us, and you can go and remove anything, add anything in. So think of the prompt as a starting point, and then you can go and make changes. Okay, so now we have it all up here. Weekly Monday trigger, like we had, generate Instagram post, create tweet version, email snippets, it's all there for us, compile all content. Remember, we can go in and test workflow and run that workflow test, which is not going to cost us any credits. And then we can see all of the different posts, tweets, emails that are generated for us. So you can get all of your content created for you on a weekly trigger that all happens in the background. And so you can get to work on your Monday morning and it's all there for you, ready to produce. This is really amazing. Look at how quickly that Copy.ai generated content from our prompts that we had, and it created all of these automatic workflows and completed those tasks so that we didn't have to manually do it. This is going to save you so much time. You really need to start using Copy.ai today so that you can improve and fast track your online course business. Here's how you can start today. Sign up for a free trial. Copy.ai offers a free plan so you can test it out without any commitment. I was using a free plan, so all of that was available under the free plan. Then identify your content needs. Think about what marketing materials you need most right now. Sales page headlines, email subject lines, social media posts, or even blog outlines. Experiment with different tones. Play around with different tones such as professional, friendly, or bold to see what best resonates with your audience. So try the different brand voice. Try a couple of different ones and change them each time to see what populates for you. Then go and explore different workflows. What tasks are you doing manually right now that are absorbing so much of your strategic time that you can delegate to Copy.ai? Consider creating workflows to reach out to leads, to research prospects, or to conduct a competitor analysis. Have a look at the workflow templates in there and explore what's available. Then iterate and refine. Remember, AI is a powerful starting point. Always review, edit, and personalize the generated copy to make it truly yours. Copy.ai can save you countless hours and help you produce high converting copy that attracts more students to your online course. You should definitely give it a try today. Go in and play around with it. If you are looking for more ideas on how AI can help your online course business, check out this video on using Eraser.ai to instantly simplify complex concepts into easily digestible visual diagrams. Until next time, happy course creating.